Just kind of making this video to go over my initial impressions on the Lenovo Legion Go. I'd say the biggest issue I've had so far with the game or with the console is the fact that every now and then, whenever I load up a game, it won't register the controls. It'll still stay in like keyboard mode, like a regular PC, instead of switching to the controls for whatever reason. Not too sure the issue. I've looked into Reddit. I've reinstalled the software, did a clean restore of Windows, and it still happens here and there. It's pretty random. Sometimes it'll have me reboot the games here and there, or it'll have me keep opening up Legion space back and forth in order to get it to work. And then just another, I guess we'll keep going with different cons. I think the controls in general, this is obviously in comparison to a lot of use in the Steam Deck. They feel like cheap. Like the D-pad, the triggers feel cheaper. The underneath buttons feel cheaper. I also wish they use a different material on a lot of the buttons in this like glossy material. It's just not a smooth texture. I think it would have made it feel a lot nicer. And then I would also say the speakers in general are pretty poor. And then also, like everyone's talked about, it's just using Windows on a handheld. Obviously it's not optimized. Legion Pass or Legion space is pretty limited. And then obviously one of the other biggest cons is the fact that the weight of the console itself. It's significantly heavier than the Steam Deck. Also another point that I feels pretty cheap are the triggers. I think the triggers feel, I don't know, just lacking. And also just haptics and like vibration in general, it's a lot less refined than the Steam Deck is. But this is compared to the Steam Deck OLED. But overall, build quality, I think it's pretty great. It feels like a solid device. It's just, they could have improved on some of the buttons, those kinds of things. But that's pretty much it for cons. So one of the biggest reasons I did buy this system was the fact that I do use Game Pass pretty regularly on my Xbox. So being able to have Game Pass on this, and then also with traveling, those kinds of things, you have your Steam library, your Game Pass library. It's a full PC, so I think that was one of the most appealing things, and the restrictions in the Steam Deck has, without getting into all the different mods and those kinds of things. Screen is great. It's massive, and it's bright, high resolution. It looks great. I honestly would say I do prefer this over the OLED screen on the Steam Deck. Just my opinion. I think the biggest benefit of the OLED is obviously the blacks, but also HDR, which this doesn't have, but I still think I would prefer this screen. And I feel like the use of it as a touch screen is better than the Steam Deck's touch screen. Trackpad is pretty insignificant in my opinion. It's helpful for sure, but it's not as good as the trackpads on the Steam Deck. So obviously another big selling point is the performance of the system. Obviously it's an extremely high performance system, way more performance than the Steam Deck. And then I would say probably the last benefit that I've noticed is the two USB ports, USB-C ports. I think that's a huge benefit to the console. You know, just opens up a whole bunch of other possibilities. And then, you know, just kind of recapping again, you know, so it's Windows, you know, Windows is always going to be hit or miss, unfortunately. You know, it's good to have Windows, but obviously Windows isn't optimized, so that's the biggest issue. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over my initial impressions. Obviously, you know, like everyone's been saying, the Z1 Extreme is an awesome processor. But I've had, you know, those gamepad issues. And yeah, I plan on hopefully uploading more gameplay. Let me know if you want to see more gameplay of anything or certain features. But that's all I have. Thanks.